Okay. Hmm. Testing? Yeah, that's okay. A little bit of a delay, but it's all good. Trust in the Manuka. Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. How are you? Hope you have been well. Welcome to another stream of Lyrebird Edits, except today we're not editing anything. We're writing. It's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't done this in ages. The last story I wrote on stream was more like a demonstration of using... What was I doing? It was a story about Kevin the Fairy. Nice. Where are my manners? Hello! Congratulations to Herringbone for being first. And congratulations Outrider SG for being second. Although no one really cares about that. Saika, hello! Wow, I haven't seen you in a while. By a while, I mean a week. Welcome back. Hello, TTLACC. Hello, how are you? Always a pleasure to have TTLACC here. Just play the objective, Sayako. How can it be? Play that objective. I appreciated Ernst's first spelling. Always up for a creative way of spelling. Long and arduous journey. Alrighty. Well, I've got the Manuka here. Oh, good. I can hear myself better now. The wonders of Bluetooth. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But before I start, I want to give you guys a fresh gander of this shirt. Yep. I'll bring it in. I think I've shown you this shirt before, maybe. It's like, I think I have shown you this shirt. Lyrebird pecs. Or lack thereof. Yeah. I want you to think of a good roast for my shirt. If you need to see it a bit up close as well, I'd be more than obliging. But what shirts have I showed you? I've showed you like the Vegas carpet shirt. That was funny. I think I have shown you this shirt before. Lower. You may need to throw some cheers my way. Lower. Oh, what's Twitch's currency? Is it bits or cheers? It's bits. Sorry, yeah. But throw some bits my way sounds even worse. Alrighty. Where are we? What am I doing? Alright, so today's stream's gonna be me writing off the top of my head, more or less, and I usually like to go into stories with some sense of plan. It doesn't have to be too much of a plan. It doesn't have to be like a rigid tollgate-like series of events. I just have to know vaguely what's going on. Sometimes I will need a more detailed plan, and other times I like flying by the seat of my pants. It's a bit of a mix. This story that I'm going to try and write today is something that I've only thought about very intermittently, and it's a story that kind of sits in connection to a story that I've shown you guys before about Nari, the android girl, and her waking up in the post-catastrophe Earth where no one's alive, but she is, and she's trying to make sense of where all the humans are, and all the humans are inside the brain of a giant sky whale. So this story sits as like a sort of companion piece to that, but it's not in the same universe. It's kind of in the same sort of theme. An ad lib. I guess an ad lib would be like real off the top of my head, no plan, no prior thinking. So I think I'm sort of a couple of stages down from that, where I've been thinking about some elements of this story, some of the characters, some of the images, some of the music that I've been thinking about when I listen to the scene in my head. So I've got vague snippets. Let's put it that way. It's just it's not a Shrek. No, no, absolutely not. Yet. Mm. When in doubt, just slip a little Shrek in. Just slip a little Shrek in. Nothing can go wrong with a little Shrek. But before I start, I want to grab um a tissue to blow my nose. Hey, fun fact. So I'll be back in a second. There we go, and I'll save you all from having to listen to me blow my nose. I love that little slow clap emoji. That's that's very cute. Okay. Put those there. Move the microphone. Move this guy. So what I'm thinking of writing is a story about I want to write a series of utopia stories. Nari's story about um, the android girl and the whale brain is actually a story about utopia. This story that I want to also write focuses on what a utopia would look like if there were a very small number of humans remaining on Earth, and the utopic society was more or less self-contained and separate from the humans. So it's utopia for the things that aren't humans, but it's not dystopia for the things that aren't not the utopic things. In that sense, it's just more like a sort of wayside story, and the consequences of what has happened in this universe where I imagine like one race of, or I suppose it's a completely different species of like organic humanoid sort of things. They took over, and the humans were like, well, we're gonna get out of the way, and they did, and now there are only like 10 of them left on Earth. So I think this story follows a few of those humans and their interactions with this utopic society and what the humans do with their lives in the full knowledge that they can't ever be like peak species again. They're just sort of a curiosity. And what I imagine is that it takes place from the perspective of this old woman who's looking after a young boy. I don't know how they came in contact with each other, maybe some sort of weird, like, utopia technology assisted birthing process, like a sort of, I don't know, like a weird, you know how we can recreate dinosaurs from amber? Well, we can't do that, but that's the science fiction trope. I don't know. Maybe it's like a conservation thing. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But what's important is that we sort of think of the first scene and how that works and how we can put all these disparate ideas together into a narrative. And usually, what I do is I'd sit down and I'd think about a sequence of linear events that you can naturally drip all of these high concepts in. I think the biggest important very good. Nice. We got the first burn of the day. Florida club boss. It is kind of like it's a bit of a leopard shirt. I think I've done live writing once before, Psycho, with Kevin the Fairy, but that was more of a demonstration of how you can weave um, a very first-person personal um, type of story. I think this is just more what I would do. Scarface, nice. Music. One thing to say before I start is that the trick with high concept fiction is to not try and explain. Well, this is from my point of view. I don't like high concept fiction because I think it um, or at least in the way that people execute it, because in a world where XYZ happens, all this cool stuff, wow, technology, wow, post-apocalypse, and then the actual story itself is quite bland. Um, for me, it should be the other way around. It should be first and foremost a story about characters and setting and a particular scene-wise progression of events. The high concept stuff must trickle through the story. It can't be the most interesting thing about the story because concepts are very quick and it's like, okay, yep, that's the concept, cool. I think you sit there with like 100, 200, 300 pages to go and you've got the concept down and you're like, okay, that's fine. Where are we going? What are the characters doing? How do they interact with the concept? Is the concept good, bad? And so I think for a lot of fantasy writers or science fiction writers to get caught up in this, like, oh, I've got this really cool idea for a story, but what they have a cool idea for is a concept. And the story must be about people. Or things that are like people, I guess. That's just my opinion, though, and I think that helps you work with the elements of the story, which will ultimately make the concept better. It doesn't work in reverse. It works from a forward sort of push. Yes, you can. You can tune into both. You've got two eyes or two monitors. You can put them side by side. To take apart in real time. Good. Here we go. Urch. Excuse me. Part of the reason why I'm a bit sloppy is because of this. That. Because of that. My disk is very cluttered. I'm not set up for writing mode. Cool. Yeah, it's just something to keep in mind, I think, as you write through. I think character-driven sci-fi would be what I'm going for, Outrider, yeah. I'm gonna put some place names in here. Not place names, like names that I can sort of be a bit disposable with. Let me know if this is too small, I might zoom in a bit. Um, hmm. Doesn't really make sense, but I'm gonna put it there for a little bit. No, it's not malformed. Sorry, I'm just gonna change the font a bit. That might work a bit better. Alright, one more sentence and then I'll have a look at chat. I'll stop there. And I'll go back. Oh, we got some roasts. Very good. Very good. Alright, SG says the zoom is better, so I'll zoom in. Thank you. Sing the shirt. Alright, it says it's heinous and gorgeous all at once. I think I agree with you, actually, yeah. Do you like the pink splattered through? Like, I'll give you another... I'll give you another gander, just because you guys are so good. Like, you can see that there's... There, like that. Wow. Wow, wow, colour. So, it has these moments of beauty emphasized against a sea of chaos. That's my shirt. Wow, Lyra, is that the shirt you have to wear to get to work safe by fooling leopards that you're one of them? Good, nice. Exactly the sort of off-brand machismo befitting an aspiring porn stash. Yeah, I totally see it. It's like I'm an amateur porn pro, and it's like, hey, I can get you a part in a movie, that sort of thing, but I can't do the porn voice yet. I'm working on it, and the porn moustache, working on that too. Hey, Sikoj, good to see you. Hi. Thank you for joining. We're writing a story today. We're doing something a bit different. He's gonna be so disappointed to look at chat. Ah, good. Abrased is a word. You can use abrasion as a verb. Yeah, you can. Look, it's in Wiktionary. Abrased. Abrased. Verb. Simple past tense and past participle of abrase. Thank you, Google. This is a word. Where's this? but printmaking is my passion. Nobody took me seriously until I put it on a shirt. Good. What am I going for here? Is this effective? Did I construct everything that I wanted to? Nah, we'll see. There's a game that lets children on Earth play with each other. Echo watches on from the tip of the primary dune, where the sea cuts up and shapes the sand away into green. Resting weary legs in the flow of the grass, tucked away from the sea's breath, she follows the dance and motion of a child upon the shoreline. This thing, scraggly in life, like the husk trees that dot the purple plains behind them. See him move upon the glassy surface of the sand, where time has scoured the surface into a flat panel, a crystal mirror, a long stretch of earth where the surface has been abrased away to reveal the skin of a true world underneath. The boy holds a smooth tree branch above his head, stands so still, waits, eyes on something down beneath his feet. Or beyond his feet. Below, there's also a point here I want to fix. An ancient fisher. He's an ancient fisher waiting above the clear surface of waters, waiting for fish. Does this work? Does this fully execute what I was trying to go for at the very start when I was talking about trying to mix a high concept with a characterful description of what's going on? Sort of. I kind of had it both ways, and it's come across as a bit, maybe a little too high concept. So what I want to do then is dial back the high concept and make it more human. There's another thing that I don't like here about... Excuse me? Move my microphone closer. The repetition of scour. There we go. I mixed up the... I double dipped with an image and now I got what I wanted originally. Hearing about us, do I intentionally write with meters sometimes? No, I don't actually. I just go from like an internal clock in my head. That's interesting that you mention it. I like to bounce with my writing. I like to make the flow a bit unusual sometimes. Just to keep it fresh, I guess. Hmm. hey, hey, Pumpkin Pie Addict. Welcome to the stream. My creative energies today are being contained in this story that I'm writing. You're right. Like, this thing scaling in life is definitely dehumanizing. And I'm not sure if I want that actually. Maybe I want it to be humanizing instead. The return of a Nevada airport carpet shirt. That's right. This is the airport carpet shirt. What do the voices tell you, Lyre? They tell me to write. Um, Scraggly and lithe. Maybe it becomes more human as it goes on. I don't mind that. You know, I'm gonna call him Spark. Why not? Why not? I can do what I like. It's a stupid name. Don't care. This is a tell. I want to underline this because this is telling you a fact. And oh gosh, wow, settings. Okay, great. But why I want to tell a fact here is that you then show afterwards. So I often talk about that 1-2 punch. Spank, Dev Spank, Night Spank, Darth Spank. All superb suggestions, none of which I will be taking. But thank you for trying. Nope. Really. Something has to happen first. Hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry, my meme cup game is really low today. Um, what happened to this stream? It used to be all the memes. Yeah, it's sort of like discovery writing. I'm fleshing this scene out. I have a vague idea of where it's going. And yeah, it's really interesting. Other people like to have it mapped out. Hmm. Hmm. I don't like concept names, but I like Echo, so I'm gonna steal it. Done. Hmm. What a great name I thought of. Yeah, you guys should take note of my naming abilities. Thank you, Outrider. Oh, thank you, Pumpkin Pie. That means like when I did. Post meme dystopia, Shrek is dead. But yeah, thanks, Pumpkin Pie. Mm. It's not really sand anymore, isn't it? It's like a sort of slab. Oh, and I called it Echo again. Not really a spear, it's like a pole. Slipped into first person there. Oops. How do I spell that word? The really simple words is whale, but not the creature. That's it. I would call it the egg. The digital thing that they live in. I don't care what it's called. Let's go back and look at chat. The story sucks. Echo from League. Also, there you go. Well, now I feel silly but it was Outrider's suggestion, so we can blame Outrider. There's nothing wrong with pinching a name from League of Legends. Sand is also coarse and gets all over. People work differently with their volume versus, like, some people like to put a huge amount of volume in front of them and then edit backwards. I prefer to do concise first and foremost. Although I don't know if this is concise, this is just fishing. How many words is this? About 556, okay. That's not bad for a little bit of time we've done. And hey, look, wow, it's so much bigger now. PPA says he likes the fact that I do transitions well between paragraphs. Yeah. I guess I do it because I like not breaking flow. But there are points where it's really good to break flow too. So if you write like me and just have like a snaky story where it's just a long stretch of stuff that happens, it can be a bit saggy too. So on the flip side of that, it's more than fine to just cut and have a bit of a lurch in the next paragraph too. So I think just because this is an opener, in my head it makes more sense to have it sort of a bit more fluid. So as he says, again, I don't know how it lasts after 200 pages. Yeah. It's like Shrek 1 and how it does how it does the opening scenes. The opening of Shrek 1 is a fantastic opener. Like, Shrek jokes aside, it's a really good introduction to a movie. Like, are you going to play RDR2, Red Dead Redemption 2? I haven't got a PlayStation 4. Or an Xbox One. I can get it on PC, can't I? But like, it's 100 gigs of download, and that would take me about like a month worth of solid 24-hour internet usage to download. Hey Vision Shot, welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the stream, sorry. That's what I meant to say. Shrek ha. We're always on about Shrek here. I need a title for this story. I'm gonna call it Dragonflies, and not spell it properly. Dragonflies. I don't know why. I think eventually there's a scene that involves dragonflies, so... Oh, actually, it's called... There's a great Radiohead song called Codex that I think a lot about when I think about this story. The... there's an image I get, a very specific image when I think of that piece of music and how it influences the story. I'll see if there's a link to it. Here it is. It's like, yeah, this is it. Really interesting song because if you listen to it very quietly, like you don't sort of bop your, well, if you don't bop your head to the beat, you hear a lot more of it. Sort of, it's this weird sort of spinning sounds in the background, and that makes me think a lot about this story. Anyway, there you go. The more you know. Oh well, you still know me? Of course I know you. Vision's hot. Yeah, no, it's I just have this automatic reaction to seeing people in the chat. And if the name is like even slightly beyond what I'm used to seeing, I go into automatic mode. I kind of so used to seeing regulars as well. I'm not saying that you're not a regular, but usually it's like the same people who chat. So when one of my other regulars comes in and they're like, "Oh, hey again," and I have to be like, yes. So just ignore me. In other words, I'm scatterbrained. Still in dial-up down under. Oh my goodness, feels like it sometimes. But 100 gigs is no laughing matter. It's intense. Not at uni though. Uni has very good cabled internet connection, but at home it's horrible. Sometimes I have trouble watching 720p videos at home, which is why I stream through my phone and not through my home internet. They just got the internet a week ago. Post in rainbows. No, there's a lot of good stuff post in rainbows. I used to be a bit like, oh, the King of Limbs and a moon-shaped pool are a bit but then I listened to more and more and more of them, and I really like both of them. Not as much as like pre in rainbows and in rainbows, but like um I really like pretty much everything Radiohead do. And granted, like there are my favorite albums that occur before their more recent stuff, but there's a lot of really cool stuff that they've done recently too. Hmm. Yeah, like that makes sense. TTLACC, like to have a notepad with people's name. That makes sense, and that's something that I should do, but I don't do it, and I don't know why. It's because I'm silly. I know me under many names. That's interesting that you say Pablo Honey is amazing. I've never heard anybody say anything good about Pablo Honey. To each their own, though. It's a very different Radiohead that made Pablo Honey. And of course, OK Computer is fantastic. No, I haven't watched Brain Dead yet. Thank you for reminding me. I want to write that down. Ugh. Ugh. Pen. Watch. Brain Dead. Cool. Done. Watching Brain Dead. Maybe. I wrote it down, so I have to do it, right? Okay, so we're about 556 words in. Now, how does this work as an opener? I definitely have to see it. I guess, for Lord. I think you guys have mentioned it a couple of times before, so I'll definitely have to go and see it. What I wanted to establish in this opener was the sense that this is a bit of an unusual world, and the way that the humans interact with the digital world underneath them, a bit of scene building and a bit of high concept building. Um, I want to avoid the Neil Stephenson style of describing processes. Like if you've read Snow Crash, which I read a bit of and then stopped. Um, there are some sequences where they'll just be describing processes and technology, and I want to avoid that as much as possible, and instead give descriptions of how the characters are interacting with the technology. I mean, Stevenson does that too, but Stevenson also does these stretches where he doesn't do that. So let's see if this is effective and if I can turn off my writing brain and go into editing brain. I don't recommend really doing this. Like, if you, it's probably best to write in a blot and then leave it, come back to it later with an editing mindset. But for an editing stream, we can do it. Am I going to do nano? Huh. I don't usually do nano because I I don't know why I usually don't do nano. I mean, I write often enough other times in the year that I don't really feel the need to contain it. Maybe that's the problem with nano, is that if I participated in it, I would feel like I'd dip in other areas of my writing, and I justify, oh, I'm doing nano, I don't have to write elsewhere. That being said, though, I haven't written in a short while because of my uni work. Um, but no, I know it's useful for people. Are you going to do it, Vision Shot? Exam time also makes it a bit hard too. Hmm. Snow Crash is interesting. It's a really seminal work of science fiction, but where is it? Yeah, it's somewhere on my bookshelf. I can't see it right now. But for me, the thing about Snow Crash that I didn't gel with was um what I remember of Snow Crash were I do remember the characters, but I remember the technology more so. Maybe it just wasn't my cup of tea. That's cool. So you can do like a pre-nano. Maybe you can carry it forward into NaNoWriMo. So if you dip it in a few days, it can be like, oh, on October 28, I did this. So it carries forward. There's a game that lets children on Earth play with each other. Echo watches from the tip of the primary dune, where the sea cuts up and shapes the sand away into green. Resting weary legs in the flow of the grass, tucked away from the sea's breath, she follows the dance and motion of a child upon the shoreline. What I want to do here is probably emphasize that they've travelled a bit. That's, I think, the impression that I wanted to give. I don't like this word. I really don't like tuck it out. It's a, where does this phrase come from? Um, yeah, that's right, it's North American. For me, tucker, it makes me think of Tuck Shop, which is an Australian canteen. So that's why I don't like it. It sounds weird. Oh, it's not strictly Australian, it's a UK word. Ireland, Grenada, South Africa, Nigeria, New Zealand, Australia. Yeah, it's a British thing. I'm not married to this. So I'll leave it for now and we'll go back and see what happens. Well, she follows the motion of a child upon the shoreline, this thing scraggly in life like the husk tree that like husk trees that dot the purple plains behind them. I mixed up my colors here. We've got green and then purple. So I'm gonna get rid of the color there. Look at the empty plains. See him move upon the glassy surface of the sand. I'm gonna get the colon there. Where time has abrased the surface into a flat panel or crystal mirror, a long stretch of earth, where the shell is peeled away to reveal the skin of the true world underneath. The boy holds a smooth tree branch above his head, stands so still, waits, eyes on something below beneath his feet. Beyond his feet is a bit funny. I don't know if beyond or beneath works better, so I'll leave beyond in. Herring doesn't like tuck it out either. There, that looks better. It's a bit shorter too. Isn't it funny that we share the same impression? That's so weird. I wonder why words do that. I wonder why words have crossover impressions. And then such a specific thing, like tuck shops and tuckered. Weird, right? It's in the same category as moist. Watch me slip a little moist into this story. I think moist is bad in most occasions, but I love the word. I really like it. One of my favorite things to say out loud is moist oyster. If I ever decide to like run a bar one day, or like a boutique oyster grower slash pub thing where I have like, hey, oysters and beer on tap, I'm gonna call it the Moist Oyster. I should register the name right now. The business name. Just to hear it in my ears too. Soggy. Wow. You hate Lush, really? I like Lush. Lush sounds like someone pulling their fingers through like a nice cushion. Like, you know, the ones where it's got the fabric on it, where if you push it down one way, it's one sort of shade of color, and if you push it up the other way, it's another shade. Like, it's a sort of felty fabric. I don't know, like a velour, maybe? That's what I think of when I think of Lush. Lush. It does. It makes me also think of like a fantasy forest. Come for the story writing, stay for the AMSR or ASMR. Soggy Weet-Bix is very good, yeah. And Soggy Sponge is true, yep. I think I'm in agreement there. Look, Gecko. He's an ancient fisher waiting above the clear surface of waters, hunting fish. Well, I guess duh, if he's a fisher, of course he's hunting fish. So let's get to that. He's an ancient fisher waiting above the clear surface of waters. Take this moment in, his figure, his shadow, his pose. Tens of thousands of years separate humans then and now, yet they are mostly the same. The world, however, is not. There are no fish down there in the world beneath his feet. There are only shadows and ghosts. It's a game the last children on Earth play with each other. Some are above the surface of the world, and others are tucked away in the digital belly beneath. Cordoned away? Sequestered. Oh, cocooned. Which I didn't... Oh, spelled it. Yes. Spelled it right. Yeah. No, I didn't spell it right. No. Absolutely not. It's cocoon, of course. It's not cocooned. Hahaha. Lyre bird spelling. None of you saw that. Somewhere above the surface of the world, I'm just cocooned away in digital belly beneath. Yeah, I like cocooned. This has a real insect-like baggage to it, which may work well later because of the title. Um, this is more about expertise rather than in this specific day. It's not temporal; it's more experience. Now, you may be thinking, well, Mr. Lyre, Mr. Editor who tells me to change my words, why do you have this thing here? Like, why is this telling us detail? Spark is well and truly adept at the game. It's like, okay, well, why don't you demonstrate this to us? And this is the demonstration. So it's partly a demonstration of the game, but it's also a demonstration of his ability of the game. You could also get rid of this and it would work just as well, but I think opening the paragraph with this primes you to understand what's going to come. It's like a sort of little follow on from the last paragraph. It's not completely necessary though. The moist sogginess of a leaf was tugged by the lush, tugged by the lush, lingering, lustrous call of the wind. Wow, what an awful sentence. Even as the feeble light of mid-morning, or even against the feeble light of mid-morning, the glow can't be feeble because it's a contrast. Even against the light of mid-morning, the glow from beneath the playing field lights up like a second sky. The girl loses sight of her child for a moment as the scene before her triple cuts into three bands of pure light, sea, sky, mirror, like water, like rising steam. The light creates new waves that wash up from beneath and curl against the child, but I want to have curl against spark, like wind, like gust. It ripples hair and clothes, yet the child moves not. Because I think the child here works better, yet the child moves not. Spark leers against the light, eyes everywhere beneath the surface, stick raised, waiting, watch, echo, there. Spark catches sight of a target before echo, a little disc of red and blue, to cry against the white, glassy slab of light. Don't need to say of light, just slab. Playing field. They get there in time. Spark pivots, twists his body around, lunges with the tip of the pole, heading down for the target. He makes contact, the force of it sending his shoulders back, eyes wild. Disc. No luck. He didn't get there in time. See the victor beneath the mirror. Now, how do we know that he'd lost? The target goes red, so it's red if you lose, blue if you win, I guess. No, like he didn't get there in time. See the victor beneath the mirror. Her own sporting pole clean in the center of the mark. A ghost player, a wispy thing. Semicolon. Bear with me. Echo peers into the scene and sees the children, then mirror doubled, one child above, one below. One human of flesh and bone, one digital mirage. The child on the other side kneels down into the surface and makes a face at Spark, maybe sticks a tongue out, maybe taps her pole against his feet, as if to say, try harder next time, you're getting slow. Maybe from her perspective, Echo and Spark are the poor creatures trapped on the other side of the eggshell world. Maybe they are the unfortunate things that have to live on the outside. In the cold, the shrill wail of wind and sea, run amok of biology, and run amok ocean of biology that litters the lands outside the egg. There. So that's kind of a start. And then I want Spark and the girl to sort of kneel against each other, and Spark to go back to Echo. Yeah, good. Okay, so I kind of got like a progression of events that go out from here. Full of awe. Totally full of awe. Yeah, I think that sentence was, we can relegate that sentence into our memories and never speak of it again. So, Outrider says, illuminates instead of that second lights, but I may have gotten rid of it actually. A lot of light in this paragraph had dicks. What is disc? Yeah, you're right, there's a lot of light in this paragraph and it's sort of, it bleeds into each other a little bit. Let's go back and fix that actually, that's bugging me. Vision says, I have like 1,000 things that I describe as wide in my story. I have to go freaking miles to find new words for it. Porcelain, white, clear, or not really clear, but it's hard, isn't it? You can give the impression of white as well without saying white. Like blinding, or pure. Yeah. And if it only makes sense that they're white, not because of the color, but because white is the opposite of black. Hmm. Ah, the disc is the target disc. Good call there. Yeah, I think I did delete it. Fictitious 1267. I did. I replaced it with something else. Soggy with photons. Let's go back and get rid of some of the light here. Let's get rid of that misspelling. Spark is well and truly adept at the game. Works like this. Watch, even against... Yeah, we need to get rid of the light here because we've got lights as a verb and light as a... So what a burn. Even against the burn of mid-morning, the glow from beneath the playing fields lights up like a second sky. It's a bit thick and I don't like the glow. I could put breath, but sometimes replacing... So, fictitious says light is greater than playing field. Glow from beneath the playing field lights up like a second sky. Hmm. I worry though that if I get rid of playing field, then I lose the solid image of where we are. If I just keep referring to light, 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 what it does is it makes the whole scene a bit sort of messy. Even against the burn of mid-morning, the glow from beneath the playing field. Um, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of lights up. What I was saying before about the double indirect image, that may work. Even against the burn of mid-morning, the glow from beneath the playing field sings like a second sky. That works a bit better for me, because we've still got light here. It's a glow. It could lose the sight of a child for a moment as the scene before her triple cuts into 3 bands of pure light. So here we actually have light. Sea, sky, mirror, like water, like air, like rising steam. We've got light here as well. I wonder how to fix this. Like water, like steam. Or Euro creates new waves that wash up. I'm gonna replace with washes. Washes up. So here's what I had before. Light creates new waves that wash up. Light creates new waves that wash up is it's a very slow, sluggish kind of thing. The air washes up from beneath. It's such a it's like a breath of fresh air, like a lightness coming in. But the image matches the way it's written. I think that's kind of why I like this here. Ah, okay, that's what you replaced it with. So you prefer playing field rather than light. Cool. Oh, you prefer light rather than playing field. Hmm. I'm gonna stick with playing field because yeah, no, I don't think I can replace it back with light because the sentence is a bit different now. I think it solidifies the scene a bit more. Hmm. It's sort of like a game of tag. I sort of imagine it looks like it's like whack-a-mole, but the mole doesn't retreat. It's just like, hey, here's a target. Who gets there first? So it's like a high stakes game of like Os or what's another game like that? Nothing wrong with your characters having a little cry. As long as it's a deserved cry, I think. Oh, it's an arrow. Gotcha. I thought you meant like greater than, as in you prefer one over the other. Oh, good. Blitzball. Hey, it is a bit like Final Fantasy, isn't it? Blitzball was more like a sort of soccer thing, wasn't it? Blitzball Shrieker's V. Oh dear. You need the Jack shot in Final Fantasy X. If you don't get the Jack shot, don't even bother playing Blitzball. Like, it's Jack shot or nothing. It's impossible to play a game of Blitzball without Titus's special move. You mastered it. Ooh, congrats. And do you remember? Did you play 10-2? Have you guys played 10-2? I love 10-2. It's a stupid, silly game, with some really fun mechanics and some really interesting moments, and the ending. Oh my god, the ending. Just the secret ending. The real ending is like, oh yeah, that's fine, and then the ending that you get when you press X for the whistles. Ah, oh my god, what an ending! Like, 16-year-old me was just bawling my eyes out. So many tears. Loved it. Um, hmm. Yeah, I reckon the re-release would be fun. The HD version. It was certainly a lot more lighthearted than 10, and it felt like a more of a free game. The dress sphere thing was awesome. That was such a cool idea that you change classes and unlock the gates. Really nice. Do you remember so the initial ending of 10-2 was like, hey, we've defeated Vegnagun, everything is fine, let's have a concert, more or less. And then there's the little ending afterwards that you get if you do a couple of things throughout the game where um hang on. um, 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 um. So many emotions. So let me just have a watch of this, hang on. Yeah, here's the link to the end of Final Fantasy. Skip to 7 minutes, and if you remember that, then the very end of 10-2, the secret good ending links in with this, and I won't say how, but wow, okay, I gotta stop talking about Final Fantasy. It's been 12 years and I still remember it. Just ah, love it. Okay, it's a little spoilers. Yeah, so don't click on that if you don't want spoilers. Oh, from 7 minutes on, you won't get any spoilers. Yeah, Herring, you mentioned Tooth and Tail on Discord. Like, you got it from Discord sells games now? That's kind of cool. Alright, that's about Final Fantasy. Yes, yes, correct. Correct, Outrider SG. It links to the ending of X, not X2. The X2 ending continues directly from like frame for frame. Like, Titus comes up to the surface, and then it continues on at the end of 10-2. Satisfying ending. Hmm. I'm gonna go through this once more and prune the light back. Likely is against glare. Eyes everywhere beneath the surface, dick rays, watching. I'm gonna put this, instead of waiting, just watching. Make it a bit more active, and then I can double up with watch echo. That kind of links the characters together in a bit of a weird sort of slippery way. There, Sparkcatcher sighted the target before echo, a little disc of red and blue to cry against the white, glassy playing field. This is quite, it's a bit long. I want to chop it down a bit. It cuts at the playing field. Fine. Will he get there in time? Spark pivots, twists his body around, lunges with the tip of his pole. Lunges with the tip of his pole, hanging down for the target. Hanging down for the target is redundant. It's just, that's what he's doing. He makes contact, the force of it sending his shoulders back, eyes wild, keeping the point pressed firm on the target disc. Red. No luck. He didn't get there in time. See the victor beneath the mirror. Her own sporting ball, clean of the center of the mark. Wow! Wow! I just got a United Kingdom local experience pack. Just got installed, eh? Give it a look. Wow, what wonderful things will I see if I click on the local experience pack from the UK? Will I see... Will I be, like, immersed on the tube? Will I be at Piccadilly Circus? Will I be paying, like, £6 for a coffee? Any of these local experiences, I'm all for. Thank you, Windows. Thank you. 100%ing the Chocobo races. Yes, I remember that. Vision Shot says, how long are you planning to get that story? I don't know. 20k words, maybe? I'll break it up into little scenes. 20 to 30k, I think is what I want. I don't think it's going to be a full book. I think it's going to be a companion piece to the story that I wrote with the androids before. Tisha says, have you ever heard of the game Phoenix Point? Having a short story competition. That sounds cool. I'll just Google it. The Phoenix Point writing competition is now live. What's Phoenix Point? I do not know. I found a Reddit post about it. Phoenix Point is... Oh. That's kind of cool. It's a... There you go. Yep. It's a game in development from the makers of XCOM. It's a process strategy guide and a montage of moments set to the tune of like that song from Cats called Memories, like Memories, turn your face to the moonlight. That one where what's her name? Griselda is mourning the loss of her beautiful memories. Hmm. But the link to the short story comp, I'll put that in as well. I found that on Reddit. Oh no, it's here as well. Maybe we can all enter. What do you reckon? Deadline is 31st of December. That's pretty cool. Maybe we should give it a go. What do you reckon? Hmm. No, they're different. See the victor beneath the mirror, her own sporting pole clean in the center of the night. A ghost player, a wispy thing, it appears into the scene, sees the children, then mirror doubled. One child above, one below, one human flesh and bone, one digital mirage. See, I'm gonna expand out her image a bit. I keep using like water, like rising steam, like. So I'll try and cut down on the likes. Um. Romanticists used to be pretty big on drawing forest nymphs. See if I can find one. Was it romanticist? Modernist romanticist. I think you can get the image anyway without me finding something of the kind. Yeah. Okay. Porcelain? Porcelain. Line, porcelain. I don't want to put with porcelain knees for child bends down. That's a bit weird. With porcelain skin also doesn't work, so. Especially because this is a very long sentence here, so I might chop it and make another one. Wispy hair wave like lymph to light by light from around his mind. Porcelain. That might work. A porcelain creature, if I spell creature properly. If on the other side kneels down to the surface. Makes a face, it's about me 6 at a time, maybe play tips of pulling against the feet. Okay, cut that into its own paragraph. So this first 571 words establishes fairly well a general gist of the world, but not things that I spoke at the start about what the high concepts are. So we don't really know what this structure is, what the relationships are between humans A and humans B, except isolation. We don't really know what happened to the world, we don't really know what's going on or why they're here in the first place. And so I think that that's probably the question that we need to answer first and foremost, is why are these characters here? What are they doing here? We've given like a bit of an introduction. The high concept stuff you can suspend for as long as the story goes. That's my feeling. I don't feel like you need to rush into a full blown explanation of okay, the world's like this. Every human's dead except for these 10, blah 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 blah. Humans do this, not this anymore. The world is like this. There's lots of waste everywhere. You can bleed it into the story in a rolling fashion. That's detail that your reader enjoys encountering in a natural, no, look, organic. I don't like using that word, but it's organic in its development. It's dynamic. It flows out of a story. What's really important now is that we establish what the characters are doing and how they're going to be taking us through this story. The characters are the vector at which we experience the story. Nothing happens outside of the story world that doesn't happen to the characters. Unless you're doing a third person objective narration, in which case you can come in and do a bird's eye view of everything and be like, the land is ravaged, biology scattered to the very edges of the world from the 10 years nuclear war, blah blah blah. Whatever sort of higher concept that you want to plant in works a bit better like that if you're doing third person objective, impersonal. But if you're doing third person personal, it's probably best to use your characters as like, imagine they're like the paintbrush. Your characters are the paintbrush, and the paint is obviously your words and what you're trying to construct, right? And if you imagine that you're sort of drawing out lines or shapes with your paintbrush, your reader will only see what you draw, and they'll only really click with it if the characters interact with it. So it's probably, well, at least that's the way that I'm writing it. It's not an exclusive, exhaustive way of doing it. I only read organic stories. I only read vegan stories. It's not confusing as is, but Gulf solidifies it. Hmm. The prize is a copy of the game. Hmm. Not a bad prize. Hmm. Yeah. You mean just Porcelain Girl? That works well. Yeah, I think that flows nicely. Cool. Alrighty. Let me go get water. I'll take a little break. Like a tiny break. Just back soon. Excuse me there. Um, been a while since I've actually read a paper book too. Maybe it's a time thing, but I'm with Herringbone here, like a nice beach novel. It's a really nice thing. It relaxes you too much. Maybe you need like a more angular, edgy story. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to bring back my water. Like the whole reason I went out was to make myself a glass of water. Make myself a glass of water. I'm gonna go get it. Don't forget the tissues. I forgot the tissues. What's gonna happen from this point on then? Hmm. Actually, I haven't really got a solid grasp. Just a few sort of ideas. Maybe. Two things could happen here. I could actively describe Spark playing a few more rounds with with the girl on the other side of the mirror. Or I could make Echo or Echo spin out a bit of a story. What I could make her do, I suppose, is describe and ground the scene a bit better so that we get a wider wash of where we are, and in so doing, maybe drop in a few clues about the nature of the world. And then, to cut off at the end of it, to have Spark come up to her and sort of be like, yep, I'm done. Which is what I think I may try and go for. What I'm trying to address here is that this would also be a good time to introduce why Echo and Spark are here, why now, why today. I think where I want this story to lead in is that they're actually going to be meeting up with another pair of humans. They tend to sort of pair off into these really um, almost like grandmother, grandson, grandfather, granddaughter, granddaughter, grand blah blah blah. Like these sort of really, really old pairs. So you have one really old human and one very young human, and it's sort of the older one acts as a mentor, like a wise owl kind of thing for the younger human. I don't know why, but that's just kind of what I've got churning around in my head. So what I want Echo to do is to, I suppose, look around at the state of the world, flowing on from this idea here about maybe for the things inside the egg, watching humans interact on the outside, maybe sort of like a sad curiosity. I'm gonna get rid of planes. So, like the husk trees that dot the empty plains behind them is a decent grounder, and I'm going to replace that because I don't want them to be in a barren place. Um, like the trees are blim behind them. And why I did that was because I want to fix up this scene as I go. I don't want to call it hell either, because it's not a dystopia. It's not a um, lush. Nope. Just had an idea. I want to introduce insects to this story. Look, it's called dragonflies. I need insects. But like, one of the things that I really want to hone home is the sort of. I'm gonna use the word lush because it's a good word. It's like a lush natural state of this world. How do I do that? Where do I do that? Ideally, from the very start. Um, I think a really good example of it would be here. Maybe once before as well. What I'll do now is I'll drop these small elements in, and then I can use it a bit later on to sort of try and reconfigure the scene during an edit. More so, what I want to do is to get an idea out there right now, rather than nail it the first time. This should be a world of insects, and that's a pretty important detail, but it's one that I didn't really strike upon until I was a little bit into the story. And so what I was doing then was I was thinking, okay, well, I want this world to be, instead of sort of barren and post-biological, I want it to be in its prime of biology in a sense. And that shift means that I have to then go back and think about the sorts of impressions that I'm giving. Often you don't have to change too much. If you want to make those shifts and pivots as you go through a story, they're not all that difficult to achieve. All you need to do is just to add impressions or subtract out barren impressions. Remember what I did before? Here. Originally I thought that this was a bit of a barren area, and so I described this initially as, I compared him to one of the sort of dead branches on a tree that dot the plains behind them. I reconfigured this into something that's a bit more sort of lush and biological. So I subtracted a negative image out, and here I've added a bit of a weird positive image in, like why are there insects doing this? And so here it's kind of interesting in terms of like a sporting event, but it should come to its fruition here. Those two changes and keeping it consistent throughout means that I can then reconfigure the scene into a different mental image. So I guess if anything else in this stream that I can impart from me to you, it'd be that you will change your notion of what the scene looks like as you progress through the story. Don't shy away from that, lean into it, but then have a think about how you can go back and remove the inconsistent images. Unlike painting, which is you can paint over stuff, sure, but like in writing, you have the ultimate luxury of having a very clean eraser. You can cut stuff out, you can excise things that you don't like, and you can shift and change previously established things so that they mean new and interesting stuff. Yeah, that's what I was going for there. TTLCC says the little boy or girl playing with the perfect human boy or girl, not a spark. Good point. Let's clear that up. Where did I write that? Here. Girl. Whoops, I meant to write girl there. Boy, girl. Yeah, good spotting. Swans to collection. I'm wondering if I can go a bit lighter. Swarm is like collection is maybe one step down and maybe not as adapt. Maybe just like a couple of them? Well, why didn't I say pair? The story is actually all about pairs, isn't it? We've got two characters, two dragonflies. If we had two dragonflies, the boy and the girl. Crystal dragonflies they are. Why not? Pixel gathers. Freaking modes are hard, man. Digital painting. It's a bit like digital painting. You're right, digital painting has the luxury the luxury of undoing. Also got the luxury of things like layers. Being able to redefine things on the fly. Yeah. I guess digital writing also has that same effect because if you're typing on a typewriter or writing by hand, which why would you? Um, you have a very different writing experience. It's a lot more solid, um, and a lot more mutable. It's not necessarily a good thing. I think keeping the writing very fluid and all over the place kind of serves it a bit better. So many layers. Beyond the little human boy playing with the perfect human girl, beyond the lush foam of the sea as she drags crystal fingers along the polished earth. I've used crystal a lot here. Foamy fingers! Yay! Life in the madness takes the sky as a horde of birds. They become black dots in the blue and purple, then cut down like schools of fish into a new formation, new shape. Wind takes their wings and pulls them here and there. Wind. Hey, lots of alliteration there. I don't know if that works, but I'm gonna leave it in. Much less filtered. It certainly comes out a lot more raw, doesn't it? Still though, that rewriting that you're doing is a form of editing. It's whenever you rewrite or reconstruct a paragraph, it's a type of editing. Although if you do it in the same stretch of you actually writing it, then I think it can come out a little differently to what you do it for an edit. Hmm. Okay. I'll go for another maybe half an hour. We'll see how we go. Um. Excuse me, I'm being a bit rude here. My phone. Chirping, colliding, circling in their chaos. So one thing I haven't established is Echo's age. Um, I've hinted here that she's maybe not as sprightly as can be, but I suppose for most of this, there's no need to establish just how old she is. But if I do it early, then I can avoid running into the problem of the black bags. Hi, lie about edits, etc. Um, I just got a call on my phone, and when I get a call on my phone, the 4G signal just blip, it drops out. So yeah, classic Aussie internet. Yeah, I don't know what it is about wireless hotspots and phones. Maybe it's just my phone. Um, hmm. I tried on things I have to change in early chapters if something doesn't fit. I tend to fix them immediately. If I know that it's a solid change, like if I change something in chapter 3 and I'm like, yep, this new direction, 100%, I'll go back and fix immediately the tiny little points that I remember in chapters 1 and 2 that need fixing. And um, in a subsequent edit, I'll do a more thorough sweep to catch those little things that are now inconsistent with that new idea. It's just a matter of practice and doing it more and more and more. The more the more you keep a mental note of those things, the more consistent your story will be. And I think I used to do whatever works for you. If you feel as though you need to type it down in a Word document, go for it. Just make a list. For me, I keep it fresh in my head and I do it quickly. Um, Man in High Castle Head. Change X. Yep, that works. Do what works. Vision says I change stuff inside the chapter, but I don't go back to the previous chapters before finishing my first draft. Interesting. So that's kind of like you complete the whole line before you go back and change things. I'm much more of a like do a bit, make sure it's good. Do this, make sure it's good. Do that, make sure it's good. And I find that the story is less um, it becomes less of a wave and becomes more of a solid line. Personal preference. You have to do what works for you. What's bad about age 80? Nothing's bad about the age of 80. Um, no, absolutely not. Nothing wrong. I think the point I was trying to raise there was like, um, if I describe her just as a woman, and I don't really give her any sort of features that make, in your mind, certain of the fact that she is not just a woman but an old woman, then we run the risk of being like, oh hey, by the way, she's 80. And so you've probably been 800 words deep into a story not knowing exactly like what she looks like. Exactly. Totally pictures of a young adult until now, most because you said this was a companion story to the Andro one. Right. So that's partly my fault too. Easy fix. Let's go back to the start and make her old. A 70-year-old swole. Like 80 years worth of gains. And with no gains goblins left on Earth, it's just her as the gains queen. Did I finish Blood Flood? No, I haven't. But when I was in New Zealand, I got a really strong sense of where the story should go. One of the problems with Blood Flood is that I've been trying to write it since 2014, and it's been difficult. It's been one of the most difficult stories I've ever worked on, and the stuff that I've shown to you guys is the happiest I've been with it. And then I went to New Zealand, and I subscribed to the Dollar Shave Club, $5 a month, good raises. Bought some Manuka honey, and I just decided that I wanted to change a lot of the elements of it to fit into a different kind of narrative, like a parallel linear narrative, and it was something that I'd struggled for ages to figure out. Like, how do I start the story? What kind of structure does it have? Is it circular? Is it blocky? And then when I was in New Zealand, like, absorbing all the scenery, and I kind of thought I should set the story here, so it's going to be set in New Zealand now, um, and I should reconfigure a lot of the elements to make it more personal to the characters. Um, it should be more demonstrative. It should be different. So all these different ideas came to me, and Blood Flood is going to be hopefully my next like major project story, which would be part of this series. Like, I want to write a triplet novel, not a novel series, but one novel with 3 novellas in it, which will have Blood Flood, this one called Codex, or Dragonflies, whatever I'm going to call it. I don't really mind. Um, and another one that I'm just thinking of too. They're all utopia stories, even though Blood Flood starts with everyone on Earth dying. It's yay, happy utopia. It's the stories about what humans can look like in the future if we want to, I guess. And happy stories, yay, happy stories. I'm not used to writing happy stories. Let me just go back and have a good chat. Um, Fictitia says, yeah, I hear you have to establish your character before the reader does, or their vision will overwrite yours. Yeah, 100%. And that's the little comment up here. Um, totally, because if you don't give them the solid grounding and then have to, yeah, like, oh, hey, P.S., old character, it's jarring for them. The been guided you. Hmm. Yeah, so I think everyone has their own way of knowing how they work. So my method for vision shot may end up in this, like, just changes over and over and over and over and over again, and you get stuck in the loop. So you have to do what pushes the story forward. Let's go fix this. Excuse me for taking so much time. I can push this into the No, what I've done here is I've broken the image. Excuse me. I just broke this sentence. I don't think I should do it here. Echo watches from the tip of the primary dune, where the sea cuts up and shapes the earth into green. Resting weary legs in the flow of Can you guys still hear me? All good? Yeah, we just got a really big spike of lag then. Someone's trying to call me on the phone. When they do, it lags. Tell me if it's good. Tell me if it's good. But, you didn't skip it, but the Twitch showed you for some reason. Oh, weird. That's strange. I'll press F5 for refresh. Yeah, some of my Twitch chat. Yep, can hear. Nice, good. Good. There we go. Ready to stream. Good stuff. Yep, nice. There we are. What I want to do here, just to reiterate, is tell you that she's old. Letting the dog in, but I think I got an idea from that while I was letting be. Hey, I was letting the dog in. I want to parallel their ages in nature. Doji, where are you, Doji? Don't step on the power cord, please. I'm thinking of writing them in parallel, so have the biology of the old woman mimicked in nature, and to have the youth do so too. My dog is a big distraction. Sorry. Right. So what would be a really simple thing to do here is to follow on with the sea metaphor. So I'll break this, and we'll reconfigure it. Resting on this. So then I think I need to describe Echo. All I've done here is just reconfigure the metaphor so that he looks like the waves as opposed to um, the life trees behind them. So this is stronger. I like this better than I do the reference back into the trees. But we still have the problem that Echo doesn't have any sort of presence of being an old woman, except for the fact of her longing. So that's what I tried to do originally. Hmm. Hmm. So our writer says that line about how she wishes sets it up for me that she's old. Maybe if that's a strong enough impression. Hmm. And I wonder if that's strong enough. This may solidify it more. Echo loses sight of a child for a moment as the elderly vision triple cuts into three bands of pure light sea sky mirror. That is a bit clumsy, but it may solidify an impression. So we've got ooh. I had an idea. Resting. Done. Get rid of weary. Put in ancient. Yes. Neat. Okay, so it still may not be as strong, but just the change of a single word from weary to ancient, maybe gets rid of the impression that they've been walking, but it puts in an impression that she's old. Nice. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Actually, ancient bones works really nicely too. Zoop. Yeah, very good. I'm trying to think of it, to be honest. Maybe add reinforcement to the fact a tad further in. Hmm. Good. Mr. Command of a same person. It's yeah, isn't that cool? We're spending a lot of time together and picking up each other's habits, I guess. What happens to Fortnite's existence in this story? Well, Fortnite gained sentience and then decided that I'm trying to think of a way of taking this into a weird conclusion. After Fortnite gained sentience, I don't know where Fortnite fits into this story, if at all, or if it should. Hmm. You have stumped me, TTLACC. Grandma, this is boring. I don't want to be out here. I want to be home playing Fortnite. And to which Echo will say, you need to just get out in the sunshine. Just get out and explore the world. This is boring. I don't want to play with this ghost girl. I want to play Fortnite. Hmm. They added a battle royale mode in Black Ops 4. I can see why they did that. They're trying to compete with the Fortnite crowd. You need to subscribe to me. The dream sequence later when Tree plays Fortnite gets three punches a hole in his shack wall. Perfect. That's a great 1-2 punch of a sentence there of a comment. That's the peak. Can't get any better than that. You need to subscribe to me. What a terrible world we live in. Where this is the case. Okay, how many words are we done? Actually, I don't need to highlight it. 808. So, ideally, without me stopping and starting and explaining and getting up to get glasses of water that I then forget to bring back in, I usually do about 1,000 an hour, and I'll do all of these micro adjustments on the fly, and we'll keep going, pushing more and more and more. So I certainly write slower when I'm streaming. Let's write more. The woman turns to fancy young warrior before staying tall and proud of his pulse on cross. Sorry, let me go back and read. Scats. Throw in a curveball here and there. I like that word. what's going through my mind right now is that the whole purpose of this scene at the start was for him to clear his head because there is something that's on his mind, something that's going to happen to him today that Echo knows the full implication of, and for the boy it's new, it's something that's a bit unknown. I think what's going to happen is that um they're going to take a small journey from their camp, where they live alone as a pair, across the waters and to another small camp of humans. I think there are only about another two of them there as well. So that's like 40% of Earth's population of like surface humans. Um, I think the humans have this notion of pairing. It's not really a breeding thing. It's more just about sort of companionship. I think it's in the natural progression of a human's life of 80 years. They die and then they'll be reborn. But I think that happens through like the inner workings of the inner world. They push out new humans, so there's no reproduction manner here. It's more just companionship. I think what I'm trying to sort of convey is that there's something here as an event that's going to be quite emotional, anxious, possibly scary, possibly interesting, where Spark is going to meet a new human for the first time in his life. I think for all of his life, he's just seen Echo and the children and people on the other side of the world, like the sort of raised layers, but he's never met another surface dweller. So that's the impression that I'm going to try and leave here, but I'm actually going to call it there because I want to stop and think more about how the end of this and the implication of this can be dragged out and laid on fluidly. I don't want to just be like, and that's what I started doing here at the end. I was going to be like, she can understand his trepidation. But I want to, that's the impression that I want to give, but I think there's a better way to do it. Rather than get the narrator to declare it and explain it, I think that I might do something like make him go back to camp, look at a letter or something, or a digital note. I can weave this in naturally rather than getting the narrator to declare it. I have to do it soon in the progression of the narrative, but I want some time to think about this. Yeah. The androids come. I think the androids are actually a bit separate from this story. It's more like a sort of spiritual succession, and not strictly in the same universe. I think that the point of these stories is that they all sit back to each other. The story about a blood flood, this one, and another one I'm gonna work on. It's more about what humans look like in the future in a nice way, but they're all the stories are all kind of like humans on the decline, but that's actually a good thing in a weird sort of strange kind of way of seeing utopia. So the android story comes first, I think. I think I'll put it first. It's the most like humans are dead. Now what happens? Kind of story. Whereas this is humans have been overtaken by something else. The last story is humans are sort of contained in a neat society. So I don't know. I don't know how it's fully going to work, but the androids come before, but they're separate. Yeah. It's all avatars. It's all a mirage. It's all a simulation. Thank you, Sekoj. I'm moist at least 3 times. I'll make the story extra moist for you. Thank you. Either putting a name like a union. Good. Yeah, like with a capital U. I like that idea. I'll let it brew over a bit more. It was a fast half hour, wasn't it? Yeah. Hey, Elsa. Unfortunately, I'm just about to head off. You caught me at the very end of a stream of me doing a little bit of writing today. I think shaving cream can be moist. It leaves your skin dry, but not after a $5 club shave though. They are very nice, those razors. You can buy them now from thedollarshaveclub.com. Oh gosh. But yes, we're gonna call it quits today. Sorry, Chaos. Caught me right at the end of a stream. Thanks guys for for being with me while I throw down some ideas and work through everything. I might continue this actually. I'll come back with a slightly more solid plan of where I want it to go, and then next time I'll be typing more, um, writing, and it's good because I think this 800 words solidified a lot of ideas for me, and now I can spring off those ideas into new and exciting things. Soggy Shave Club. It's $5 Shave Club to you. Oh no. My discount. Type in Lyrebird for a 30% discount. Alright, catch you guys on Thursday. Thanks for being